Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on this Friday edition. Getting ready for the weekend. I am from an undisclosed location, presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, which we'll talk about that because the 2024 class came out on Wednesday, was announced to the public. And we're presented by LeBear's Casino, where it'll be rocking. It's always rocking there. But this weekend, busy weekend. Tigers on the road. That means go to the Edge Lounge over on the casino floor. Live music Fridays and Saturday nights at LeBear's. Comedy on Thursday night. They had that last night. And Barstool's the best place to watch all the games this weekend. All right, TK. Last night, the Detroit Lions, one of my favorite teams, thanks to Hard Knocks last year in 2022. This year they did the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, but last year, you got to sneak peek behind the scenes to see Dave Campbell, the former Saints tight end and coach. Just their culture. You love their culture. You're kind of pulling for them. They were the best team not to make the playoffs a year ago. They deserved to be in. They beat the Packers on the road and kept Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs, the final game of the year last year. Well, they won again last night in Lambeau. That's something they don't do very often, is win 2 years in a row in Lambeau. But in dominant fashion, and they're now 4-0. In your opinion, are they the best team in the NFC?
Yeah, they're 3-1, and they are the best team in the NFC North. See, and forever, I've always liked the Lions because they have the second best uniforms in the NFL. I love that. It's called Honolulu Blue. I love that Honolulu Blue and silver. I just love the combo of that. I like that since I was a kid, and of course, we always saw them on Thanksgiving Day back when we were younger. But they went in and took care of Green Bay, 34-20 game, not quite as close as that score may indicate. So that's big for the Lions. I think they got a great shot to win the NFC North. I was on them this summer thinking that would be a good thing, and they got it done. So we'll see how they continue to go forward. It's a long season.
Yeah, I forgot about that ridiculous Seahawks game. I just checked to see, wait, I thought they were 4-0. No, they had the lead. They blew it. Seahawks scored 37 on them, beat them 37-31 in a shootout. Second game of the year. If the Detroit if the Detroit team is first or second, who's the other team you like the most in the NFC?
In the NFC, the 49ers are big time. They kind of got it going on, hitting on all cylinders. But it's September, October. Sunday's October 1. So, it's a long way to go. But I think you got to be impressed with the 49ers in the NFC. The NFC South, where the Saints are, that's doing a whole lot better as a division than some people maybe thought they would be. With three teams sitting there at 2-1, and of course Saints Bucs play Sunday, so one of them will get to 3-1 if they don't tie. But I think the 49ers are the story in the NFC at this point.
Eagles and Cowboys, obviously, are two other teams that are right there. I think you put those four in a bag, you shake them up right now, and any of them could come out. The season will play out. Obviously, Jalen Hurts and what he did last year and what continues to do is a guy that the Eagles are the champs till you knock them off the perch. Are you off the Cowboys with what happened last week in Cardinals? I know you loved them early on, and then all of a sudden last week against the Cardinals, it's like, what happened?
What is it with these teams from the state of Texas, the Cowboys, the Longhorns, the Aggies? They always seem to be doing great, and then all of a sudden they lose a game, you don't see it coming. I think it's just Cowboys again. Look super duper offensively and defensively first couple weeks, and then the Cardinals, who look next to dead, all of a sudden just go nuts on them. In Arizona. So I guess that's the NFL, the old saying, on any given Sunday, anything can happen. So, again, I'm being repetitive this morning, but there's a long way to go in the NFL. We're not even, Sunday is October 1. So we'll find out a whole lot more in the month of October, and we'll see where it all stands when we get to November 1.
Nothing new out of New Orleans yet, other than the fact that now folks are optimistic. I think the Saints are more floating the idea that Carr could play so that it gives the Bucs something else to prepare for. They have to now consider defending what the Saints offense might look like with Carr at the helm versus Winston or Taysom Hill. It just puts more homework on their plate. I'd be stunned, shocked, amazed if Derek Carr ends up playing this weekend, but they're saying it's a game time decision.
He's not going to play. I would bet more than one Coke Zero that he doesn't play, because you need him November, December more than you need him this Sunday against the Bucs, especially since you're tied for first. And even if you do lose, it's not like you're going to get in too big of a hole. So I think that's just some posturing. He might play. We'll make that decision Sunday morning in the Dome, but I don't think they're going to put him out there at this point in time. I'm sure James, he hadn't practiced. Jameis Winston's getting all the reps with the ones, and of course somebody did ask Dennis Allen the other day if the offense is different with Winston. Of course, he said no, but it is. Okay, we all know it is, and so it's going to be interesting. I think the Dome will be crowded Sunday, and we'll see if the Saints can get it done. Now 3.5-point favorites over the Buccaneers. That over and under 39.5. As you mentioned, Wednesday. A kind of under bet kind of jumps out at you.
Speaking of the Dome, one of the guys who filled that Dome for a long time, Drew Brees, named to the 2024 Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class officially. That class was released on Wednesday, and you can check out all the names at lasportshall.com. Date to be determined in May or June of next year when the Hall of Fame induction will be. Working through everybody's logistics right now, but once again, Tommy, Simone Augustus, Drew Brees at the top of that class as far as superstar names and no-brainers and that kind of thing, unanimous picks. Daniel Cormier is another giant name, and people may be, that name rings a bell. Maybe you don't watch UFC, you're not into MMA, maybe that's a little too gruesome for you, maybe you're not a boxing fan, but Daniel Cormier is a huge name in that sport. He's from the Lafayette area, Northside High School. Was a great, high school football wrestler at Northside High, and then had a stellar career in college, and is a two-time light heavyweight and heavyweight champion of the world in the UFC and others. So he's going in. Those are the three superstar names in the class. The rest of the class is as special as always. Something about Louisiana, Tommy, makes it easy to pick great athletes.
Well, the sports history and tradition across the board, the MMA, the horse racing. I mean, we throw it all in there. It's amazing. And, and I've especially paid a lot more attention to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame since you became involved. What's that been, 6 or 7 years now?
Yeah, September of 2016.
So you're on your 7-year anniversary. And obviously, you and I been doing all this stuff together for over 25 years. Let that sink in for a minute. Back in the old days. But, so obviously I paid a whole lot more attention. I know many members of y'all's selection committee. I know there's 40 people on that. And I know probably almost 3/4 of them I certainly know, and know the other ones who they are. So I paid a whole lot more attention to it. And it makes me proud to be from Louisiana and proud to see what you and so many people have done up in Natchitoches with the museum, with all the events. You got a golf tournament coming up in Lake Charles in November. I believe I saw that. So, I mean, people need to really get to lasportshall.com, connect on all the social media stuff. I mean, it's a lot to be proud of in the sports world in Louisiana. And I'm glad to be a fan of all of it. And, of course, been a member of the media forever, but that's fine. But it's just – and I've learned about a lot of people like Imahara, the weightlifting guy. I mean, I've learned about some of the great athletes that maybe weren't always on the front page for the last bunch of decades. But, no, it's great. I tip my hat to you. I'm not just blowing smoke at you, but I tip it to you and many people who have helped you. I know it takes a lot of people to do what y'all do. And I strongly encourage people to make that trip to Natchitoches and check out everything on social media and go to lasportshall.com and see this newest class.
We'll talk plenty more about the class. Obviously, we've got a long time before the actual induction. And there is a golf event November 14th at LaBerge Casino in Lake Charles. As we spread it all around the state, it'll be a noon tee time on Tuesday, the 14th in Lake Charles. And there'll be a big party the night before at Barstool Sportsbook at LaBerge from 6 to 9, a pairings party, and all the celebs will be there. So we would encourage you to check that out at lasportshall.com. But a couple of coaches that I know you have an opinion on and are familiar with are in the 24 class. Perry Clark, the former Tulane basketball coach from 89 to 2000, and Frank Monaco, who won 3 state championships at 3 different high schools, most recently St. Charles Catholic. Your reaction to them being in the Hall?
But, Perry Clark, what he did at Tulane with the resources they had and, a little bitty gym and all that stuff. I mean, he was a long-time assistant at Georgia Tech, and then he got his chance at Tulane. And he really did, he took Tulane to some pretty good heights in basketball. He put some guys in the NBA. And, he was well respected by all the media in New Orleans. He's a good guy. A lot of basketball coaches are funny guys. John Brady, Perry Clark. We can go down the list. But I'm happy for Coach Clark. I don't really know him. I was only at one or two media things that he was at. But happy for him. And Coach Monica, I mean, he's a legend. I mean, what he has accomplished. Former Southeastern baseball player, I do want to say. Way before me. I'm old, but he might be a little bit older. But no, he what he has done and the impact he's had on schools and kids and high school athletics is amazing. So I'm not surprised to see Perry Clark or Frank Monica into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, every time I saw Coach Monica, even though he's a football coach and that's what he's going in the Hall of Fame for, we always talk baseball. And then Perry Clark, 3 NCAA tournaments in 4 years at Tulane in the 90s. They went to some multiple NITs as well. And just to give you an idea how great that is, Tulane hasn't been back to the NCAA tournament since Perry Clark was the coach back then. So it gives you, and then he coached University of Miami for 5 years after he left Tulane. All right, let's move on. Right up back. So it's the time off over there outside of Rome. It's near, but it's 9 hours ahead of us. Give us a little update on the Ryder.
Yeah, well, Europe took all 4. It started at 12:30 this morning, just past midnight last night. The course looks great. Big crowds. The weather was perfect. It was like a postcard. The blue sky, the green golf course. It was really nice. Europe, for the first time in Ryder Cup history, won all 4 points in the morning Friday session. In the afternoon session, which is all on the back 9 of the 18 holes, there's one match that Europe's 5 up with 7 to go. They're going to win that one. There's 2 matches where the U.S. is 1 up, and there's 1 match all square. They're all on the back 9, 12, 13, 14 hole. So you only got a couple hours left. And then because the 8 points are up for grabs today, Europe got the first 4 this morning. The U.S. has got to battle back and see how many they can get this afternoon. Looks like they got a great shot to get 3. They'll settle for 2, but they'd like to have 3. But again, it's been fun to watch. The crowds, the enthusiasm, the roar every time a birdie putt goes in or a great shot from the fairway. It's been amazing. And, U.S. On foreign soil, haven't won in 30 years. That's been well documented. And still, we'll see what happens this afternoon. Then you got Saturday, then all the singles matches on Sunday.
Reminder, the Solheim Cup, which is the winter version of the Ryder Cup, the United States swept the first day at a commanding lead and then let Europe right back in there, and they ended up with a tie, 14 points apiece for that event. That was just last week or whatever. Hope that's, at this point, when you fall behind 4-0 after the first half of the day, that is not a good start for the United States. It's just bizarre. 30 years of troubles over there for the United States, just not having any success, even though they have on paper the better golfers, the better team. They're the favorite, already off to a bad start.
Well, I mean, this is the 44th Ryder Cup, 43rd, something like that, and Europe has never won the first 4 points of the weekend, sessions. So when you do something that's never been done in history, it sends a message. Now, of course, USA is regrouping, and I'm sure they're getting after it, trying to tip the scale a little bit back towards them in the afternoon matches. But as I mentioned, the weather over there is perfect. The golf course looks to be great. By the way, there's a par 4 out there, 305 yards, and in the practice round on Wednesday, Victor Hovland made a hole-in-one from 304. From 304, par 4, he hit the green, rolled in, and of course the place went nuts. But it was a practice round. But there are several drivable par 4s, which adds to the interest and adds to the fact that the score can change quickly.
Yeah, and do you want to go for it or not? That kind of thing. How aggressive do you want to be? Okay, for the gamblers out there, LSU is a 2.5-point favorite, over under 67.5.
Right.
Give us a take on that game before you give us the lock for tonight.
Well, I think LSU Ole Miss can be high scoring. This over under was 63.5. It jumped up to 67.5. You don't see, other than a major injury, you don't see over and unders move that much in college or the NFL. So if somebody's thinking something, the question is, will the LSU defense wake up? The question from the Rebels standpoint, will their offense wake up? And those two things would lead to, if LSU's defense wakes up and Ole Miss offense don't, then it's going to go under 67.5. So, but I think LSU wins this game. I think it's going to be pretty close. It could be one of them 35-31, 38-34, 31-28. I think it's going to be in that neighborhood. I think LSU is going to find a way to get it done. I think Ole Miss is going to have to fight off that don't let Bama beat you twice thing that gets talked about a lot. Now, I got a lock. I got a Sports Shorts Daily lock for you tonight, Friday night, Pac-12 action. Utah is at Oregon State. Oregon State's a 4-point favorite. Oregon State's ranked 19. Utah's 10. But here's your value. Here's your money. Utah plus $1.55 on the money line. I think the wrong team's favorite, even though the game's in Oregon State, in Corvallis. I think if you want some value, put a couple of coins on Utah on the money line plus $1.55. $100 will win you $155. Go do it.
An interesting story for the LSU fan, Brad Wing. You remember the great Australian punter who was on that undefeated regular season team in 2011, who most famously had the punt in the 9-6 game of the century that hit the telephone wire of the CBS camera that night, and it took a weird turn and ended up being an unbelievable punt to flip the field, and it really helped in the game. Well, Brad Wing's been out of the NFL for 5 or 6 years? He's back.
Well, this is fun. The Pittsburgh Steelers have signed him to practice squad. I got a punter with a hamstring issue, and they just, putting an insurance blanket out there. But there's a question I'd ask Brad Wing. Okay, you've been out of the NFL for 6 years. My guess is that first year you were out of the league, you kept working out, you kept punting the football, go to the local high school, because that phone might ring. You might get that call in that first year, maybe even year plus. Especially if your agent's working it a little bit with a couple of teams that they can scour the rosters and see who might need a punter. But I'm thinking in the last 4 years of the 6 years he's been out of the league, I'd like to know how many footballs he's punted. I mean, how many times did he get the sack of balls, go out to the field, and just uncork some spirals? I'd like to know that. But hey, good for Brad Wing, good for the LSU brand again, and I don't know if he'll get on the active roster for the Steelers, but it's quite the story because you don't see anybody out of the NFL for 6 years return to the NFL, and in particular, punters.
I will say this. I just looked it up because I had a suspicion. This year, he punted for San Antonio in the XFL.
Okay, well, then I'll stand corrected. Yeah. So he has been kicking the football.
Right. He's been hanging in there, and he's been hanging out with OBJ. So OBJ kind of has rubbed off on him. So good luck.
Ryan, there's a big report that the XFL and USFL are going to merge for next spring.
Correct.
I don't know what they're going to call it. I don't know which name they're going to call it, or they're going to come up with a new name. But there's reports that they're going to merge to give themselves a better chance to survive over time.
I think that's a good move. What you got there is you've got The Rock, who he and his wife own the XFL, and then you've got the USFL, which Fox owns the USFL. And so if you can merge a distribution arm in Fox with a marketing arm and publicity arm in The Rock, you might have something there. Definitely the world's too small for two professional spring football leagues in the United States. Like that's too much. So I think this is the best chance they have to be successful. It shocks me, Tommy, I'll be quite honest, it shocks me that fans are not more into spring football in the United States. It just means that there's so much football coverage and talk and everything that goes into college football, pro football, between not only September through basically halfway through February, but even in the offseason, all the transactions and everything that happens. I think get so much of their fill of football that clearly it's enough because these spring leagues just continue to struggle.
Well, you go back to the 70s, we had the World Football League, okay? Then you had the USFL, Donald Trump was involved. And those didn't make it for financial reasons, TV contracts. The sports world, money world was a lot different then. But when you look now, Ronnie, I think the reason that they don't get the attention, the NFL marketing department does a great job 12 months out the year, where maybe 25 years ago, you didn't hear about the NFL in May. You didn't hear about the NFL, a month after the Super Bowl. You kind of heard the draft for a couple of days, then you heard the mini camp. But the NFL has done a great job getting their name out there 12 months out the year, whether that's the OTAs, the rookie camp, the draft, the free agency. And I think that's what hurts. And then there's so many more options out there, with the internet. I mean, you can watch. They didn't have the golf channel. You didn't have the tennis channel, the Formula One channel. I mean, the world's just different in sports. And that's why I think in order for the USFL and XFL, if they make a combine, that I'm not saying they're going to make it, but that enhances their chances of hanging around. Most importantly, they need a TV contract with that money. Because we all know, like when the USFL in the 80s, there were guys that paychecks bounced. They didn't get their, Steve Young, guy had like a $2 million paycheck that bounced. Our old friend Alan Risher, old number 7, he never had a paycheck bounce, but there were times they had to wait an extra week to get it. So and again, it was a different world then than it is now. So we'll see what happens. I'm all for it because it gives some players an opportunity to still chase that dream. Still get out there like Brad Wink punting last year. Well, now he's back into the NFL, So sooner or later, everybody's going to stop playing. So, and it gives coaches a chance to, keep climbing that coaching ladder. So I'm all about it because of players and coaches.
The other thing is they need to get the stamp of approval from the NFL. If they never get that, if they get under their umbrella to a certain extent, then they're leaving.
But NFL Europe didn't work. They put the stamp on that. And then, and the NFL's not going to start a minor league because they have that with college football. Okay. It's not on paper their minor league, but it truly is, especially now when the average age of an NFL player has come down by 3 or 4 years in the last decade.
Yeah, you work out some sort of partnership where, like, all right, LT fly,
Well, yeah.
It's almost like a taxi squad. Rookie, the practice players for that.
Yeah, the other thing it does is it gives officials a chance to get better. You got to have referees. You got to have officials. And, of course, you and I are announcers, allegedly. It gives opportunity for people to announce games and people to work in the TV truck on graphics and camera people and all that stuff. So it creates a lot of opportunity. That's why I'm all for it.
All right, Tommy, we'll be Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow morning from 10 to noon. We'll be at Fat Daddy's in Plaquemine. Tune in to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Derry Beckwith, myself, Hunter McCann, Tommy Krysan. Tell us about Tremonti's as we get out of here today.
Well, they got everything you need for the weekend. They can provide some on-site catering, the whiskey behind me, all the wine, whatever you need. Tremonti's meat and seafood, tailgating party packages. You're going to somebody's house to watch the game. You got people coming to your house. Small group, large group, doesn't matter. Tremonti's can take care of you. Visit the website, tremontis.com. Hunting season, not that far away. They do plenty of deer processing and game processing here. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. Right down the street from Parkview Baptist Church and School, like we always tell you. Hey, Sports Shorts Radio, as Ronnie said, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to 12 noon from Fat Daddy's down in the city of Plaquemine. Come check us out or listen on 104.5 ESPN. And as always, we're sponsored by the LeBears Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. The Barstool Sportsbook, great place to watch the games, eat, gamble, bet on the MLB. Wow, MLB, we didn't even mention it. Regular season ends Sunday. The Saints, NFL, LSU, college football, and a whole lot more. Don't forget the Edge Lounge, the back left side of the casino floor at the LeBears Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge. Hey, like and share this video. We ask you to do that. That helps the cause. Please like and share this video. Let everybody know about it. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. We'll be back Monday morning from Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Krysan and the entire gang here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Have a great weekend, everyone.